Hello again and welcome to Clear Skies Retirement with Jay Kirkwood at Secure Financial Management. My name is Randy Cook. Each week we sit down here and talk through some of the issues of retirement, and that is why Jay is here. Jay, how are you doing today?
I'm doing real well, Randy. How are you going towards the end of the year's in sight now?
It just flies, doesn't it? I mean,
No
I
kidding,
remember.
No kidding, right?
I remember when you and I were talking about, like the first week of September. It's not too early to get into your end of the year meeting because the year's going to fly by, and here we are. So
that's why we say it.
The year is flying. So come on in, get your appointment to sit down and talk about your retirement. If you're one of the people like me who has said, "Yeah, before the end of the year, I'm going to do this." And here we are. So if it's to sit down and talk about your retirement, it is time. Give Jay a call and the team at Secure Financial Management. I'll give you the number here. It's 210-985-6200, or use the website, which is retire210.com. Well, we usually start a little bit, talk about some of the things that are going on in the market right now. And it's been bouncing back and forth. We're seeing some volatility. We're seeing some new highs. We're seeing, days where it goes down 400, 600, 800 points. It's kind of crazy right now. And what we're finding is that there's two different kinds of investors right now. There's people that are in the market regularly, and they seem to be buying. They are plowing money into the market because they have confidence that this is going to be a good market for days, weeks, months to come. And then there's the retirement people, the people that we're talking to here. They're getting close to retirement, and they are taking the opposite view right now. They are moving more toward cash and bonds and fixed income. They are fleeing to safety. So they're nervous about all of this. They're not necessarily buying in to the big bull run. But I want to ask you, Jay, are those people who are kind of pulling back a little bit, are they being smart, or are they missing a big opportunity that's out there right now?
Well, usually those reactions are based on fear, right? And so fear is not an investment strategy. And I got to tell you, if it was an investment strategy, there'd be millionaires on every corner, Randy.
Gotcha.
It's a pretty common reaction to the markets like this. This is par for the course, if you want to use a golf term, right? Like this is what happens. This is part of being invested. And, I'm not predicting it's going to be such a dramatic correction as this, but there's a guy called Charlie Munger. He passed not so long ago, right? It was Warren Buffett's right hand man, basically. He said, if you cannot stomach a 50% drawdown in your investments or the stock market, right, a couple of times in your life of investing, don't invest.
Wow,
this is going to happen. And what we've seen recently, we're talking about a couple of percent. It's nowhere near what he's discussing. If every bump in the road like this is causing you to completely throw your hands up and run for the exits and use cash like it's a panic room, essentially, there's something wrong with your strategy. Whenever the markets are volatile, let's go back to April, right? When we had, what do we have, 10, 12% down in a week or a matter of days. Right. And we're busy, right? We're managing the portfolios, but everyone thinks, oh, you must be getting blown up with clients calling you. Not really. Yeah, I mean, we'll get calls, but it's nowhere near the volume that you would think because there's a plan in place for that event that's going to happen.
And one of the things that goes along with this, and I saw this just this week, the people at Vanguard, there was an article about them, and what they're saying is, you and I have talked about moving money from a 401k or an IRA over to your own, from your employer over to your own IRA. And they say tons of people are doing that right now. And when they do that, they put it over into cash and then they move it to your account. And what's happening is nobody's moving. They're saying people are staying in cash for like 7 years because they get near retirement, they put the money in cash, and then the market does its thing like it's doing right now. And they go, you know what? I kind of like that little cozy cash over here. I'm not going up and down. But at the same time, aren't we all trying to be market timers when we do that, aren't we?
Yeah, you are. And I can already tell you what will happen. So I have timed the market perfectly for a trade once in my life. And so I've used my one, right? That's it. And it wasn't my brilliance, right? It was just fortunate timing is all it was.
Right.
And this is what always happens when you get out of the market, because over the decades, I've seen it thousands of times. that feels good, right? Like, hey, what's what you just said? Hey, this is a nice, cozy place to be. There's no volatility. If I check my account, it hasn't gone down. It might go up by a little bit because it got a little bit of interest, but I don't have the volatility on the downside. And I'll tell you what the phrase is. It's in people's minds because it's what they tell me. Let's get out and we'll get back in when this is all over. All right. And I say, all right, hey, look, you're the boss, right? This is your money. I work for you. That's cool. We'll do that. It's your responsibility to tell me when that date is. Right. And this is what will happen. You'll miss it. Of course you will. Right. You will. And the market will go up 10%. And now it's, well, I can't buy in now because the market's up 10% and I've missed it. I've got to wait for it to come back.
Yeah.
And it goes up another 5%. And well, now even more reason I can't buy in because now it's up 15%. And then it comes back a little bit. Well, this is the beginning. This is the beginning of the big crash. And it comes back a few percent and then it rallies back up again. And before you know it, you've missed out on a 20% gain.
Yeah.
It happens over and over and over.
Trying to guess this is not it's not scientific, and right. As Jay would say, if people knew how to do this, that we'd all own our own island, and that's not what's happening out there right now.
That's right.
So to sit down and have this conversation about where the money is placed, what risk level it's placed, you got to find that comfortable place for you. And I don't want to use words like ride it out, but to have a risk level that you're comfortable with and you don't have to look at the financial headlines every single day, that's got to feel kind of good. And to come to that place and not tinker with it, just find your comfortable place. That's what we want to do with that conversation.
On that point, Randy, think of it this way too, right? So a lot of our clients, they have a beach house. Right. Okay. So they live up here in San Antonio, but they have something down on the coast. And, they maintain both properties, at least at the moment is, most of them end up as they get older unloading one of them and making one a primary residence. But a lot of them at the moment, they've got both. So you could look at that. If you look at it in investment terms, is they've got options. They've got different places they can be at different times. Well, if there's a hurricane coming for the coast, they're not at that house, right? They don't sell the house. They don't abandon it, but they're like, this is not the time to be in this location. I have other options. I have other buckets. I'm going to go back to San Antonio, and that's where I'm going to stay until this is over. I'm not going to sell my house, but I'll come back. And most of the time, this is a great spot to be. It's by the beach. I enjoy it. But is there volatility there, just like there are in our investments? I'd call a hurricane volatility, right? Weather volatility. Yeah. That's just not the place to be at that time. It doesn't mean you abandon it. And because you have options, you don't have to.
You're listening to Clear Skies Retirement with Jay Kirkwood at Secure Financial Management. And this is one of the main discussions that we have as you sit down and talk through this is, how much of the market do you want to be in? How much do you want to dip your toe in there? Are you cannonballing in like a pool, or are you kind of dipping your toe in there? How do you feel? What's comfortable for you? That's a big part of retirement planning. Let's get that out on the table and get that on a piece of paper. Retire210.com is our website. Retire210.com. There's a place for you to put a little information in there. Jay's team will reach out to you. Let's get a date on a calendar. Or just bypass all that and call 210-985-6200. 210-985-6200. Well, there's lots of different places to put your money, and some people frown upon, some people love. And every investment probably has a pro and a con. Annuities is one of those ones that brings up a lot of controversy. But I found a clip here from a guy, he's a CFP, he's on YouTube quite a bit. His name is Kevin Lum, and he was talking about annuities, and I think he kind of drilled it right on the nose here.
Annuitized income won't maximize wealth, but it can maximize spending confidence. The average person with an annuity spends twice as much money as someone with a similar portfolio invested in the market. Now, the portfolio owner ends up richer, but the annuity owner feels more secure, even if they end up with less money.
I think he really nailed it. And the reason I think that is because he's showing the difference. Different investment products or different insurance products or whatever in financial vehicles are used for different purposes. And he's saying that here, that an annuity is built for income so that you can spend and feel good about retirement. Your investments in the market are built for growth. That's, I think, something that people kind of miss when they talk about annuities.
Yeah, and what he hits on, and I think this is where people get wrapped up around the axle on this, it's not all or nothing, right? Like if you accumulated $1 million in your 401k, like do you have enough to do a few different things? Do you have enough to maybe buy yourself some guaranteed income and have exposure to the markets as well with the growth? Probably. It shouldn't be all or nothing. We have a lady who, I think her last day was just last week. Anyway, she was retiring. And she went and saw a few different advisors and she came to us. And we've got our process we go through. We talk about this. We've got initial meetings, put a plan together. Let's figure out what you've got, what you're trying to achieve in retirement, put that plan together, and then come up with some recommendations. And we went through the process and she's like, okay, look, this is great. I love it. Boom, let's go. And sometimes people say, well, give me a little while to digest it. Let me think about it. Right there in that meeting, she's like, let's go ahead. Like, great. We'll go ahead and we'll do that. And look, we're always trying to get better, right? Like I think we do a great job for clients, but you should always be trying to improve, right? And so I said to her, hey, I know you saw other advisors before us. Why did you come with us? All right? Because I want to keep doing that. I want to keep doing the good things that she liked. And she said, we kind of looked at this holistically. We've got a few different kind of buckets we're going to go into, several different recommendations. She had a couple $1 million, so we're doing a few different things. And she said, the other two advisors I went to, we went to lunch and they already had a product there in their hand to give me as to what I should be putting my money into. And it was all either this one investment or it was all an annuity. And she said, that made me nervous. Like the way I thought we should be doing it is exactly the way you've recommended it is we've got a few different things we can do. Why don't we do that? So putting everything in the markets, maybe that's not the best idea. Putting everything in an annuity, I wouldn't be doing that either, right? Is there a place for it somewhere? And he crafted the explanation perfectly, right? While you are working, your whole thing is grow, 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 grow. That is the accumulation coming up to the mountain peak, right? A lot of people struggle with turning that around now, and now I'm descending this mountain. Do I want to grow my money? Yeah, there should be some growth elements in there. What's it really for, though? Is it for funding a retirement? For most people I talk to, 99% plus, that's what it is. It's funding that retirement. And it's so funny when people talk about, man, I wish my Social Security was higher. My friend has a pension. I don't have a pension. I wish I had a pension. Or my parents, it was easy for them to retire. They both had pensions and Social Security. But a guaranteed income annuity is that. It's the same stuff, right? It's a stream of income you can't outlive. And it's an interesting conundrum.
You're listening to Clear Skies Retirement with Jay Kirkwood at Secure Financial Management. How do you get paid in retirement? Where is the income going to come from? And wouldn't you like to explore all the options out there? That's really what it is. As Jay says, let's lay it all out on the table and then you pick what is right for you. Give Jay a call. Let's get a date on a calendar. Retire210.com is the website. You can start right there. If you go down to the bottom of the page there, you'll see a place for you to put a little information in there. You can get a copy of Jay's book as well, Wall Street's Game. And you can also find out about Secure Financial Management by giving us a call. It's 210-985-6200. 210-985-6200. All right, so we've talked about this in the past, using that 401k, that IRA in retirement. You save in there your whole life, and then you can start taking money out if you want to, but Uncle Sam says at age 73, you've got to start taking money out. He wants to get his tax money. That's what we refer to as Uncle Sam's plan. And what people do is they wait till 73, they take the minimum out that Uncle Sam tells them, and then they move on. Do you know how many people do that? According to J.P. Morgan, about 80% of people are doing it Uncle Sam's way and doing his. And I got, just by the sound of it, Jay, Uncle Sam's plan, my plan. I like my plan better than Uncle Sam's plan. What is the problem that people can run into here?
Yeah, it reminds me of I'm from the government, I'm here to help, right? Sort of phrase.
Exactly.
I'll take my chances.
Yeah.
Yeah. So RMDs, it's one of those things that if you're not planning for it, it sneaks up on you. So look, the best way to sum up everything that we've discussed here is, and I've talked about this couple before, that It's probably like 12 or 18 months ago now, they became clients. And so, I mean, for probably 10 years, they'd like come to some of our events, or they'd come in and meet with us, and then nothing would happen. And then one day, out of nowhere, he calls in, he's like, hey, we've got to come in and see you. We want to move all our 401ks and everything over to you guys. I was like, all right, fine. So he comes in. And this is sad, frustrating, whatever it is you want, whatever term you want to use. They are financially in a fantastic spot. That's not it, right? The problem is they have not planned out for their RMDs and the distribution of the wealth they have created that has this huge future tax burden hanging over it, right? And we talk about it a lot. We say, hey, you've got whatever it is in your 401k. Not really, because somebody else has their eye on that and they're going to get a percentage of it. It's just how much do you want to give to them? So this couple, they'd worked at an employer where they had a very generous pension, and they were old enough to have had full accumulation of that pension while they worked there. So they're retired, and between the two pensions and the two Social Securities, they're on like $10,000 a month.
Okay.
But I think that's a pretty good retirement amount, right? Well, like they were really good savers as well. And so they've each got several $1 million in their 401ks that they've just done nothing with. They're like, well, we don't need it. And I said, so anyway, fast forward, they come into the office, and the guys are doing all the paperwork, and I'm just chatting with them. And I said, hey, this has been going on for years. You've known about us for years. What prompted you to make a decision now? And I said, well, we just got distributed 6-figure distributions each for this required thing. I was like, you talking about required minimum distribution? He's like, yeah. He's like, we didn't even know that this was a thing that we had to take. And so now it's popping us up into higher tax brackets, and it's going to inflict something called IRMA. I can't remember what the acronym is for it, but it's income something, that the end result, your Medicare premium goes up. That's all you need to know. Those guys, because of the lack of RMD planning, there will probably be having to pay Medicare surcharge and in unnecessarily high income tax brackets for the majority of the rest of their life.
Right.
That's what this all comes down to, right? We talk about RMDs. You go, oh, okay, it's not that big a deal. Well, it could be. It was for these guys.
So this is that time of year when people are doing those RMD calculations. And so do you recommend that, I mean, there's a number of ways you can do this. You can take exactly what Uncle Sam tells you to take, which would satisfy that. Or I've also read that some people will take what Uncle Sam tells you to take, and then they'll take a little bit more in order to try to drain that account a little bit so that they don't have to pay as many taxes next year. I mean, how do you come to that calculation? Obviously, you have to take what Uncle Sam tells you, but should you take more than that?
If that's your plan, you've already made a huge mistake.
Okay.
Right. If you've waited until you're required to take a distribution, an RMD, you're 73, it graduates eventually to age 75, depending on when you were born. If your strategy is that, you've already lost the game.
Okay.
Right. When you should be planning for this is 10, 12, 15 years before. That's how you're going to get some leverage on this when you have the opportunity. I felt bad for this couple because, I mean, they should have taken action before. I mean, it's on them. But, they're in this spot, nice people. I said, okay, well, if we're going to have to take this big distribution for each of us, let's at least do a Roth conversion with this. I said, well, you got a bit of a problem there as well. Okay.
Right.
So you can't do a Roth conversion with your required minimum distribution, right? If you want to do a Roth conversion once you're in RMD land, you can, but you've got to take even more money out to do that. Let's get ahead of it. Like, start when you're 60, start when you're 62, whatever, get ahead of it. And this can be handled in a very efficient manner. Once you are there, you've lost a lot of opportunity.
You're listening to Clear Skies Retirement with Jay Kirkwood at Secure Financial Management, talking about your 401ks here in this segment, talking about those of you who are in retirement who come up against this thing called an RMD. What do you do with that money? Now, let me ask, we got like a minute and a half here left in the show. Let me ask about that couple that has a 6-figure RMD. Obviously, you can't feel real sorry for them because that means they have huge 401ks. That's good. That's really good. But sometimes people don't know what to do with that money.
It's easy to say when it's not your money.
Right,
It's
exactly.
easy to say when it's not your money, right?
But there's options there for people. I mean, there's charitable giving at the end of the year. There's maybe funding a long-term care plan. There's all sorts of different things that you can do with that money other than reinvest it and then pay taxes twice. So go through just a couple of those ideas.
Yeah, it's not that you can't do things. It's that the options that you have are now much more narrow.
Okay.
Right? And without talking it through like this is the standard thought process behind this thing. Well, I'm just going to wait. I'll wait paying taxes. I don't want to do that. I'll wait. And then, I'll pay them when I have to. This is the way it's going to end up. You can take a slap in the face now, or you can wait and take a punch in the face once you get to your RMD age. Because that's what's going to happen. You're going to lose those options and you just have to take it right on the chin.
Gotcha. A slap or a punch. Yeah. It's up to you because that's what taxes are, right? Oh, man. You're listening to Clear Skies Retirement with Jay Kirkwood at Secure Financial Management, online, retire210.com. If it's time to talk about your retirement, let's get a date on a calendar. Most of us are going to have a 401k. That's the biggest part of our retirement. That's going to fund the most of the different things that we're going to do, that and Social Security and whatever else you've done. But the question is what do you do with that 401k? It's full of taxes, and your IRAs, same way. Maybe it's time to talk about that Roth and moving money from one place to the next and doing that early, like Jay says. And that means coming in a little bit early, more than 3 months before you retire. Give them a call. Give them a look on the website, retire210.com. Again, retire210.com. Or call Jay. Let's get a date on a calendar, 210-985-6200. 210-985-6200. Thanks again for listening to Clear Skies Retirement. If you've enjoyed this podcast and you want to hear more, remember to hit the like, follow, or subscribe button on your favorite podcast platform. We'll see you next week here on Clear Skies Retirement with Jay Kirkwood.
Investment advisory services offered through investment advisory representatives at Secure Financial Management, a registered investment advisor. Exposure to ideas and financial vehicles discussed are not designed nor intended to be applicable to any person's individual circumstances. It should not be considered as investment advice, nor does it constitute a recommendation that anyone engage in or refrain from a particular course of action. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Investments can fluctuate, and when redeemed may be worth more or less than when originally invested. Financial professionals are not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if Secure Financial Management is licensed in your state, please contact their office. Secure Financial Management is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through Wholesalers Insurance. Jamin J. Kirkwood, Texas Insurance License number 1421850.